Was the Obama administration $400 million cash payout to Iran legal?
If you like your hostage, you keep your hostage. It's the slug line of the single-payer ransom program.
$400 million in cash, euros and Swiss francs, on an unmarked cargo plane.
The reason it was concealed is because it's illegal. That's why.
Brian, I'm asking you what you and the Secretary think about this delivery of cash.
She was out of office by the time this happened.
It's a standard Clinton technique.
The money is in cash. Why in cash? Because that way you can't trace it. It's going to go straight to Hezbollah.
Justice Department officials objected to sending a plane loaded with cash to Tehran. Their objections were overruled by the State Department.
The Justice Department raised objections.
Of course the Justice Department objected. It was illegal.
30 years ago, this would have been something that would have launched congressional hearings. We would have had convictions. We would have had indictments.
The regime laundered $400 million.
If a private company had done this is called money laundering. The CEO would be in jail right now.
Illinois Congressman Peter Ransom goes on the record. Good evening, sir.
Greta, good to be with you. Thanks.
Is this transaction, this $400,000 cash transaction, which incidentally people knew about in January, but it's getting more publicity now, is this illegal, number one? And if it is, what are you going to do about it?
Look, I think it is illegal. It's $400 million, and the administration is trying to just whitewash this, saying, oh, everybody knew about it. No, nobody knew about it. And this is now clearly contemporaneous. That is cash for hostages. And what it is an illustration of is just this desperate desire on the part of the Obama administration to come up with some foreign policy legacy around the Iran deal. And there's nothing, and I'll repeat this, there is nothing that the Iranians can do that the Obama administration would walk away from. And now they're defending this. They've been complicit in transferring cash for hostages. Period, paragraph, end of letter.
I think that it's fair to say that, I went back and did some research that it was in the there were reports about it last January, but I think, the media, fell down on this one, and it's great happiness to see Americans come home. They didn't pay that much attention to it. I think what's new now is the fact that it does look like a ransom. I mean, even the administration is saying that the Iranians want something of substance or something. So obviously it was a ransom. But is there anything you can do about that? It violates American policy.
Well,
but what can you do?
Look, what you do is you talk about it, you bring attention to it, you make it clear that what was happening was this exact thing that people warned about. Congressman Mike Pompeo from Kansas, Congressman Ed Royce from California wrote to the administration, congressional letters of inquiry. Tell us about these deals. So now what's happened since then, Greta, is 2 more Americans have been held hostage. And now is there going to be another exchange? And of course there will be, just based on this general approach of things. And I think now the question the public has to ask and that has to be answered is this the type of foreign policy that we can be proud of? Is this the type of foreign policy that means America is strong and being ascendant? No, it's a very de minimis foreign policy, and it's pathetic, and it's underperforming, and it feeds into a narrative of American weakness and the ascendancy of our opponents, particularly ISIL and others around the world. It's part of a terrible, terrible foreshadowing of things to come if this continues.
There are 2 other issues. One is that it was in cash, and the other that it was not in American dollars. Now, President Obama says it wasn't in American dollars because we had no banking relationship. But why was this in cash?
Look, it's in cash so that they could hustle it. It's in cash so that it would be unmarked. It's in cash so that it is untraceable. And the notion that we've got to somehow give a payment to the Iranians so that it is convenient for the Iranians only illustrates how desperate the Iranians, the Obama administration is for an Iranian deal. There's nothing that Iran can do that they wouldn't support at this point. It's pathetic.
That proves to me that it's a ransom and not just a coincidence, the fact that the Iranians needed something. Anyway, Congressman, thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Greta.